Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Um, and in today's video, I'll be recapping all of the NFL Week 1 action, going game by game because there were some exciting games. We learned some things about certain teams, and let's get into it. Starting off with Thursday game, Eagles, Cowboys, and this was a pretty good game in the first half. Like both offenses, which we kind of already knew both offenses were going to be really good. Like even losing Kellen Moore, Eagles offense at least in the first half looked really good. I mean, three touchdown drives, all in the first half scores. Dallas's offense was pretty much unstoppable. It was pretty much unstoppable in the first half, and then Philly's defense kind of shut down. But I mean, I know everybody's gonna want me to talk about CeeDee Lamb driving the balls. I mean, yes, he did drop those two like potential huge game changing catches where it's like if he catches, those passes, Dallas has a shot to win this game. But it's like you can't put it all on one player, for dropping a pass. Um, because CD still had a really good game despite those drops. And even at like Friday when they're supposed to have off day, CD was in the gym, working with the jug machine. So it's like he knows that he dropped those balls and he could have caught them. So it's like I feel like we're harping on too much. Dallas's defense in the second half looked much better, but I mean they clearly miss Micah so much because Philly, like Jalen Hurts was able to just like move around in the pocket. Like they were only rushing four for some reason and didn't have a QB spot. Like I didn't really understand what Matt Eberflus was trying to do. But yeah, Dallas's offense clicking on all cylinders, which we all kind of knew. Like Dallas's offense was going to be good. It's just can this defense, without Micah, new coordinator coming in. Um, but we'll have to see. But I saw Dallas's offense look really good. If this defense can start to make plays and get better, then they could be a formidable unit. For Philly, they do need another corner outside, like for the outside. Um, because Quinion Mitchell has his side locked up for the most part, but there's no real guy um on the other side. And when they play, teams like Dallas who have great, wide receivers and tight ends, and these guys who aren't really that good that they're going out there and playing with. So I hope Philly, tries to bring in the corner and tries to, you know, make sure that they can't get beat on either side. Because if they run into another team that has two great wide receivers, you know, it'll be hard for Philly to be able to stop them. And I know Jalen Carter, yes, um, was kicked out, so he'll obviously play a big factor. But it's like it kind of feels like unless this pass rush um is getting after the quarterback, teams are able to go after the weak links in that secondary, and that's a big problem. But the defense in the second half looked really good. We'll see um how it is the rest of the year. But good win for the Eagles. Dallas looked good. Um, and yeah, moving on to the Friday game, Chiefs and Chargers. LA looked phenomenal. I mean, I know at the end of the first half, Marion Hampton, running out of bounds, stopping the clock, giving KC a shot to get points in before the end of the half. But it's like LA looked really good and they finally were able to close out a game. Like when KC got those 6 points, and then it was 3rd and 14 for the Chargers, I was like, this is another game where the Chargers blow it. But Herbert with that huge run, he looked really good. And I mean, if you saw my season predictions, I thought LA was going to finish third. But I mean, with the way they played against KC today, if they play like this and clean up some mistakes that they had, this team could be a formidable team and possibly even win the West. Meanwhile, for KC, this offense, I don't know if Mahomes is going to have to play Superman because no Rasheed Rice. And even when he comes back, he's not really a number one. Xavier Worthy, I hope the injury isn't as bad um, as it was first thought of. It seems like Hollywood Brown, Juju, are going to be Mahomes' top weapons. Kelsey's probably going to have to step up. This offensive line, that's out pretty well. And Mahomes went out there, did his thing. But this defense, I mean, it did not look like the Chiefs defense the past couple of years. I don't know what it is, but I feel like KC has to get these things fixed because, you know, because like if KC's playing like against this Chargers offense, which isn't really supposed to be a formidable unit, when they play the Bills, the Ravens, like some of the great offenses, what is what are they going to be able to stop? Like it's just big concerns on the defensive side, but I feel like we shouldn't overreact to the Chiefs' loss and say, "Oh my God, they're not going to win it." But if this defense continues to be a problem, and the reason the Chiefs are losing games because they play the Eagles next week at home in Arrowhead, that'll be a huge test to see if the Chiefs can be able to win games or if this defense is going to continue to be the reason they lose games. And it could be a down year for the Chiefs. Moving on to the Sunday slate, we'll start off Cardinals and Saints. And this game, wasn't the greatest. I did want to see more from Arizona's offense. This defense, really good. I know it's the Saints offense, but I mean, this was a huge step in the right direction for the Cardinals to get the win. To get the win. The defense looked, most of the time it was lights out outside of the Alvin Kamara touchdown. Will Johnson looked great. I just kind of, I kind of want this Arizona offense to look like a unit that's better. Like the defense looks great, but it's like I'm waiting for this offense to, play like it should be. If you get what I'm saying. Meanwhile, for the Saints, I mean, Spencer Rattler looked decent. Alvin Kamara played well. The defense made plays, so there are good takeaways to come from this game. Um, the Saints, we know they're not going to be a great team, but they'll be a physical team. They'll, keep it close, but as long as you see flashes from the young guys and you see potential from some of these guys to maybe keep them around for the future, that's all you want. Moving on to Dolphins at the Colts, and oh boy, did Miami look horrible. I mean, I know it's one game and we shouldn't, take it for anything, but oh boy, Tua looked horrible. Maybe all these concussions are coming back, and um, he's starting to feel the effects of getting all these hits. But he looked horrible. I mean, 2 picks, fumble. I mean, this offense didn't look good. There's already rumors Tyreek Hill wants to be traded. I mean, he didn't look happy when the team got off to a horrible start. I mean, and Mike McDaniel, it seems like he doesn't really care. Like he's making it seem like the loss was better than it was. I mean, I told you guys I wasn't. I told you guys this Dolphins team was not going to be good, and I mean, we'll see how they play next week against the Pats and as the season goes along. But I'm sorry, but it is looking like a bad, year for Miami, and maybe they just need it. For the Colts, I mean, Daniel Jones, maybe he was the right answer um for Indy. I mean, he played well. Yes, it was against Miami's defense in that secondary, which is horrible, but he played well. Apparently became the first quarterback in NFL history to lead every drive in the game to points, which is crazy to say, but maybe, maybe Daniel Jones is just that next guy, and we'll talk about another guy in Justin Fields. Maybe those two guys just needed to change the scenery because both looked really good in week one. And if they play like this throughout the year, these guys could be getting big paydays in the offseason. The Colts defense, Lou Anarumo, I mean, maybe he just needed to change the scenery because he had this indie defense playing like they were a top 10 unit. And maybe this is what the Colts needed. The new defensive coordinator, a fresh start at QB, and maybe Indy can challenge the Texans for the AFC South. Moving on to Raiders at the Patriots. Um, Gino looked pretty good. Which I mean, I was expecting him to look really good. Ashton Genty, not the greatest game, but it was his rookie debut. Did have a touchdown. Brock Bowers, hope he's okay. Saw him get injured late in the game. Hope it's not a major injury and he can be back next week. And this Raiders defense, I was not high on them. I thought New England was going to be able to throw all over them, but they looked really good shutting down this Patriots offense. I mean, if Vegas plays like this, they could be a formidable team. Like they could be possibly a playoff team if Geno and this offense continues to play the way it is and the way Patrick Graham's defense is playing the way it is. For New England, I was disappointed to say the least. I mean, I was expecting Drake May to go out there and make some huge plays and get a couple touchdowns. I thought this running game was going to be pretty good. And outside of the first half where it was close on and New England had the lead, in the second half, New England just couldn't do anything. I mean, the defense was giving up big play after big play, fourth down conversion after fourth down conversion, and the offense just wasn't doing anything. We'll see how they do against Miami next week in Miami. Maybe they can bounce back and get a win, but I was a little disappointed with how New England played. Yes, Christian Gonzalez was out on the defensive side, but I thought this offense could, be clicking on all cylinders, and they just didn't look the greatest. Moving on to Steelers at the Jets. This was probably the most surprising game because of just how people perceive these teams. And starting off, Aaron Rodgers, maybe he just needed to be with a great head coach like Mike Tomlin. I mean, 4 touchdowns, over 240 yards. He looked amazing out there. I mean, it's like nobody could stop him. He did get, banged up. The Jets defensive line got after him a lot, but played really well. The Steelers defense, though, I mean, I don't know if, people are going to talk about the plays at the end of, that they made to win the game, but for most part, this defense looked pretty bad. So hopefully they get that cleaned up. But Pittsburgh looked really good. Aaron Rodgers looked like his Green Bay self, and maybe maybe Pittsburgh, this all-in ride will work. It is one game, we'll have to see it, but it looked really good. And for the Jets, I mean, give it up for Justin Fields. I mean, all the talk about how he wasn't going to be good, and I know it's one game, so how much can you take away from one game? But he looked fantastic. I mean, he looked like, the guy everybody was saying coming out of Ohio State. He was throwing the ball well, running it well. Brees Hall looked really good. Garrett Wilson and this offense looked really good. This defense, I mean, they were getting pressure all over Rodgers. They did give up 34 points, but Pittsburgh offense looked really good. Maybe that's just a thing. Both these teams, I feel like you got to take away that they could be formidable in the AFC because these two teams are really more supposed to be defensive oriented. If their offenses are playing like this throughout the year, who knows what the ceiling could be for these teams. Moving on to the Giants at the Commanders, and oh boy, New York looked horrible. I know I've seen a lot of people say the Giants should put in Jackson Dart. I just think, give it time. It was one game, and apparently the Giants became the second team joining the 40 to 42 Lions to not score a single touchdown in 3 consecutive season openers, which is crazy. I think it's overreacting to say put Jackson Dart in because yes, Dart looked good in the preseason, but it's like there's a reason the Giants went with Russell Wilson. It's because he's a veteran guy who can go out there and play decently well. Now, that red zone offense looked horrible. I mean, they had multiple opportunities to make this game closer, and they didn't really do it. The defense looked pretty good for the most part. It was Washington's offense, but I think the overreaction people are having is that the Giants should put in Jackson Dart. I just disagree. I think you should wait a couple weeks, and then if the Giants are still, not being able to perform on offense, then put in Dart. Meanwhile, for Washington, I mean, all year I've been saying it, or all off season I've been saying it that everybody's lower on the Commanders because they think Jaden's going to have this super, super sophomore slump and Washington isn't going to be good. This, offense didn't look the greatest, but played really well. The defense, which, everybody wants to harp on, isn't really good. But Dan Quinn gets a lot out of this guy, like out of these guys. Like on paper, it might seem like it's not a good defense, but as a whole unit under Dan Quinn, it's a pretty good unit. You see that a lot of times with offensive or defensive coordinators. They make, those units better, even if the team on paper isn't really the greatest. Huge win for Washington. Um, they play this Thursday against Green Bay, so that'd be an interesting matchup. Micah taking on the Commanders. Jags at the Panthers. There was a weather delay, um, which I didn't even know about, but apparently, like it was during the second quarter. But Jacksonville looked really good. This defense looked much improved from last year. This offense did look pretty good. Um, it was Carolina's defense, so you know shouldn't take. But Jacksonville looked really good. T-Law had a pick, but I mean it's to be expected. I mean, Travis Etienne looked really good. They traded Tank Bigsby, which was expected to the Eagles. Um, but I mean, Jacksonville looked really good on both sides, and if they play like this, they could be a formidable unit. And maybe the Jags and Colts are going to be a lot better, and they compete with Houston for this division. For Carolina, I mean, they didn't look the greatest, but I think without Aquanu on that offensive line, I think it just really hurt this team without their star left tackle. Because as long as he's in there, this offensive line is much better as a whole unit. The defense didn't look the greatest, especially on the running game, but I think they'll improve as the year goes on. Derek Brown coming back from that injury. Um, so I think Carolina, you know, once Aquana gets back and once Derek Brown starts to be healthier, I think this Panthers team can be much better. I think people are overreacting to them not looking the greatest. But I mean, it's one game. Last year they looked much worse than this, and they ended up finishing well. So I feel like we shouldn't overreact. Moving on, Bucks at the Falcons. Um, this was a really good game. I feel like these two teams are bound to, you know, face off, whenever they play next for the division title. Michael Penix looked really good. This offense seems to be humming around um really, really well. The defense also looked pretty good against this Bucks offense. Now, granted, Tampa Bay did lose their second consecutive offensive coordinator, so it was going to be a learning curve, but um, Atlanta looked really good. I feel like much improved from last year. Even without Caleb McGarry, this defense, I feel like as the season goes on, is going to be even better. And if Penix continues to play the way he did on Sunday, it'll be pretty good. For Tampa Bay, huge win. I mean, Emeka Egbuka with a huge debut, 4 receptions, 2 touchdowns. He was like the real deal. The defense played really well. Yeah, had some huge red zone stops against Atlanta. Um, and I think this offense, as the season goes on, will continue to get better. New coordinator, even though he has been with Tampa Bay, so it's like you think the continuity would be there, but I'm not, I'm not. I guess what I'm saying is like I'm not scared that Tampa is going to fall off. They'll still be good, and both these teams look really, really good, and will be competing for the South title the entire year. Moving on to Bengals Browns, and I mean Cincinnati fans should be they should just be very, very happy that they won this game because Cincinnati did not deserve to win this game. I mean, if it wasn't for a missed PAT and a missed field goal, Cleveland would have won this game. I mean, their defense was tremendous. Myles Garrett was the real deal. And the Browns lose in Browns fashion. Cincinnati escapes with a win. I've seen people say, oh, the Bengals should be happy because they won. It's like they barely won this game against the Browns, who are going to be formidable, but it's like Cincinnati was supposed to be like Cincinnati, everybody believes is like a Super Bowl contender, and it's like if they're playing this, like if they're winning by these margins against teams, it is hard to sustain success. And it just, if you're a Bengals fan, you should just be glad they won this game because as the season goes along, they're not going to be continuing winning these lucky games. For Cleveland, I mean, it's the way Cleveland loses games. Joe Flacco looked decent, a couple turnovers, which is expected. The running game wasn't the greatest. I mean, it was the defense that kept Cleveland in this game. Myles Garrett was a force to be reckoned with. Um, Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome actually played pretty well. Um, as Jamar Chase and T. Hit. I mean, this Bengals offense continues to not perform the greatest early on, and they escaped close win over the Browns. Um, Moving on to the 4 o'clock games, Tennessee at Denver. Denver, I feel like Bo Nix, you know, isn't going to be as great as people say he was going to be. I mean, he didn't really look um like the sophomore jump. Now it's only been one game, and Tennessee has a really good defense. Knicks, didn't play the greatest. I thought some of the things Sean Payton and his Broncos team did throughout the game were pretty mind-boggling, and it's like crazy. Like, why would you do those things? But a win is a win. They're 1-0, and I mean the defense played great. maybe as long as Bo Nix cuts down on these turnovers, Denver could be a formidable unit. For Tennessee, I mean, Cam Ward tried to do whatever he could. I mean, he played. I feel like he played better than what his stat line says. Receivers were dropping the balls. I mean, when you win the turnover margin 4-0, which Tennessee did, you should win the game. But Tennessee just could not do anything. They had to settle for 4 field goals, and like when Marvin Mims, I think this was in like the third or fourth quarter, muffed the punt, and Tennessee had it in Denver territory. You think Tennessee's going to go down, score, take the lead. Instead, they got backed up until they couldn't kick a field goal because they were out of field goal range. And it was a horrible drive there. We'll see if Tennessee can get out of their way and start to win these games. Because if they can't, I mean, Brian Callahan, who's already on the hot seat, might get fired because he just is kind of hurting this team more than he's helping it. Moving on to Niners at the Seahawks. Defensive game. Both offenses I was not really inspired by. And I've seen people say, oh, Brock Purdy was deserving of the money because of the way he played. The way he played was not the greatest. Like, outside of the opening touchdown drive, yeah, Purdy had a couple splash plays here and there, but he didn't really look the greatest. Like, he didn't look like a man that was worth $50+ million a year. And I mean, the Niners barely won this game. I mean, Jake Mooney missed multiple kicks. I think they're gonna need to find a field goal kicker, because if Mooney's missing multiple field goals a game, this is gonna hurt San Fran as they play teams. And they barely they probably shouldn't have won this game. Like, they played so sloppy and somehow won this game. For Seattle, I just feel like they weren't really using their pieces on offense to perfect. Like, it felt like Seattle was more so trying to be minuscule with the players they have, and it's like, let Sam Darnold play the way he did last year. Like, let him throw the ball around like he did in Minnesota. That would open up this running game to be a lot better. It just felt like the defense was great, which we know it'll be under Mike McDonald. Like, the defense was great, and it felt like this offense couldn't get out of its own way. Like, it felt like both of these teams' offenses were just like average at best, and their defenses were just bailing them out, making turnovers, making plays to get their offense back the ball. So I'm not really inspired by either of these teams to make any sort of run to the playoffs. But, it felt like a game where it's like both of these teams probably should have lost, but one needed to win. Moving on to the Lions at the Packers game, and oh boy, did Detroit look like they missed Ben Johnson. I mean, I know he was a great offensive coordinator, but to have the offense look as bad as it did on Sunday, I mean, I know it's only one game, and you can't really expect Detroit to immediately be, good again. But it's like Green Bay had this team, looking like they were a bottom five offense without Ben Johnson. Like, it made it seem like Jared Goff was not even a top 20 quarterback. And Detroit had multiple opportunities in the red zone, but I think they won the time of possession over Green Bay. And it's just Detroit couldn't get out of their own way. They just could not. They just couldn't get out of their own way. And we'll see how Detroit plays, the next couple of weeks. But this offense looked horrible. The defense played really well. And because, like, outside of like early on when Green Bay was scoring, like, Detroit played really well on the defensive side, but this offense looked horrible. For Green Bay, I mean, they have continuity, so I feel like teams with continuity always get off to good starts. Micah looked great. I mean, the offense I thought looked pretty well. Um, Jordan Love looked good. This passing game and running game looked really good, and the defense. I mean, they were just putting their foot on Detroit, and I mean, maybe there's a new NFC North king because Detroit did not look good. But I don't want to give huge overreactions because it's only week one. There's still 16 games for everybody to play. But Green Bay looked dominant, and Detroit did not look. Moving on to the Texans at the Rams. Um, Defensive game. Um, Houston's offensive line. I mean, we knew it was bad. I didn't know it was going to be that bad of a unit. Like I thought it was going to be at least somewhat decent, but it did not look good at all. But Houston's defense, I mean, that we knew that was going to be the calling card for this team, and it looked really good. Stafford, Kyron Williams in this offense played well for the most part, And then LA's defense came up with multiple turnovers, including that late fumble on Dare Ogunbowale to win the game. So I mean, great win for the Rams. Sean McVay getting the dub early on, and D'Amico Ryans and this Texans team, they got to come back and play the Bucks, and we'll see. I mean, can CJ Stroud and this team be effective with how bad this offensive line is? We'll have to see, but 1 week against a really good Rams defensive line, it maybe seems like they just aren't going to be good. But 1 week, not going to take anything out of it. And then moving on to the Sunday night game, I mean, what a thriller. Ravens, Bills, and I mean, this has been the Ravens' MO. And as a fan, I mean, I'm not surprised they blew this lead. I mean, up double digits in the fourth quarter. You think that, they would hold on to that lead, but they didn't. And I mean, I feel like it has to fall on the coach. I feel like it has to fall on John Harbaugh as the team's coach. Because I mean, I've been seeing graphics, the past couple of days of how many blown leads Harbaugh's had in like the past 5 or 10 years, and it's like it's crazy how many blown leads Baltimore's had. I know, John Harbaugh, great head coach, but it just feels like every time, in the Lamar Jackson era, especially, because that's the era I kind of grew up in. It feels like the Ravens have had a big lead, whether they're on the road or at home, and then somehow the team ends up blowing it. Like it kind of feels like the Ravens have a big lead, and then the team is kind of satisfied, not thinking the other team's going to come back, and when they do, they can't really respond. You know, Not to give credit to Buffalo, they played hard. Josh Allen and this team looks like a Super Bowl contender, but I mean, I feel like John Harbaugh. I mean, I don't want to say fire him, but it kind of feels like the Ravens need to move on from him if they're ever going to have a shot to, you know, win these games. Because it feels like, and yes, Derrick Henry had a late fumble that helped Buffalo, but like it always feels like Harbaugh and the coaching staff just are making the wrong decisions that hurt this team. I mean, I'm not. I don't. I mean, I don't want to say firing, but it kind of feels like the Ravens need to make changes, and it kind of feels like Harbaugh's time may be running out. And then finally, Monday Night Football, Bears, Vikings. Shout out to JJ McCarthy. I mean, early on in this game, he looked rough. I mean, he looked like a rookie. And I mean, I thought, oh, Chicago's going to easily win this game, you know. And then Minnesota comes out in that fourth quarter and plays tremendously well. JJ McCarthy with two huge passing touchdowns, a rushing touchdown. He looked pretty good. And that defense shut down Chicago's offense after the opening drive touchdown. Yeah, Chicago got a late touchdown that made this game closer, but um, kind of felt like the Bears finally were going to lose the stigma of like who they are as a team. And then once again, they blow a lead and lose to the Vikings. And I mean, hey, give credit to Minnesota. When they were down 17-6, I thought this game's over. AJ McCarthy isn't going to be coming back. And then he did. So shout out to Minnesota for being able to come back. And Chicago, I mean, hard way to start the season because this defense, without three of their top players and Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon, and T.J. Edwards, were stopping a Minnesota offense, which is one of the best, and then just completely fell apart at the end. And maybe unlike last year, this team recovers from this loss, but it's just they had Minnesota and they blew it. But that will be it for today. Hope you guys enjoy this video. And go check out my other content. I've done college football predictions. Go check out my season predictions. And I'll see you guys on Thursday for my week 2 picks. But until then, hope you guys have a great day. Don't forget to subscribe and bye.